Hey everyone, welcome back to the Campfire Series, brought to you by North Dakota State Parks and Recreation. Today we've got Matt from Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park, and we're going to be talking about the Civilian Conservation Corps and their role in the development of the North Dakota State Parks.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Campfire Series brought to you by North Dakota State Parks and Recreation. My name is Matt, and I'm here at Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park outside our beautiful visitor center here. And today we're going to talk about the role groups like the Civilian Conservation Corps played in the development of our North Dakota State Parks. Buildings like our visitor center here at Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park are some of the first structures seen in our state parks that are still in use today. Museums, visitor centers, historic structures, campgrounds, and infrastructure were all put in by the Civilian Conservation Corps almost 100 years ago.
The Civilian Conservation Corps, also known as the CCC, was a volunteer work relief program for unemployed unmarried men ages 18 to 25 from 1933 to 1942. The CCC was a major part of then President Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal. The program provided manual labor jobs for the purpose of conservation and the development of natural resources in lands owned by the federal, state, and local governments.
The CCC provided work for young men and their families who struggled to find jobs during the Great Depression. The program offered clothing, shelter, and food on top of a wage of about $30 a month. $25 of that was sent home to their families. CCC camps were established all across the country by the late 1930s. At its height, the program had 300,000 men enrolled in it. Over its 9-year span, almost 3 million men would participate in the CCC program. Here in North Dakota, the Civilian Conservation Corps left its mark on many of our earliest state parks. Here at Fort Abraham Lincoln, the CCC completed many projects, like this stairway behind me. These are all still very important parts of our park infrastructure.
At Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park, the campgrounds and park roads were completed by the CCC. The program also helped establish some of the first interpretive resources in the park. Old Fort Abraham Lincoln and the Fort McKean infantry posts, which had been gone for over 4 decades, became the sites where the CCC would map out both forts with sandstone corners outlining the buildings which once stood there. 3 blockhouses were also constructed overlooking the Missouri River. In 1936, the cornerstone is laid for the Visitor Center building. The building is a great example of the architecture of the CCC, with its massive glacial rock walls and fireplace, along with its huge wooden ceiling trusses. It is a glorious example of the superior craftsmanship this group of young men had.
One of the more unique projects that the CCC did here at Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park was the reconstruction of 5 Mandan earth lodges here at the Honest Land Village. For this project, most of these men working on it had never even seen an earth lodge, been in an earth lodge, let alone knew how to construct one. Traditionally in these villages, the women were the ones who oversaw the construction of earth lodges. So for the CCC, they received their guidance from an elder Mandan woman by the name of Scattercorn, who in her younger years had lived in and built earth lodges. This one project set in motion an entire era of Mandan historic and cultural interpretation, which is still part of the programming here at Fort Abraham Lincoln. Had the CCC not reconstructed 5 earth lodges here, generations of visitors would not have been introduced to the Mandan culture and the Honest Land Village like we see it today.
Across North Dakota, the CCC and the Works Progress Administration, also known as the WPA, influenced the start of our early state parks, including Beaver Lake, Turtle River, Lake Metigoshe, and Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park. During the 1930s, the CCC built roads, picnic areas, the dam, and large bathhouse for swimmers at Turtle River State Park. The WPA built the entrance pillars at Beaver Lake and constructed a large lodge, kitchen, and dining hall to serve up to 200 people, and built roads at Lake Metigoshe State Park. Throughout their time in North Dakota, the CCC and WPA programs included surveying, reconstructing old forts, erecting markers to identify important locations within a park, and building infrastructure such as roads, outhouses, campsites, fireplaces, picnic areas, and museums. Russell Reed, director of the North Dakota Historical Society in the 1930s, which operated the state parks until the formation of the North Dakota State Parks and Recreation Department in 1965, quickly recognized that the New Deal programs were what the North Dakota park system needed to come of age. The state parks could transform into outdoor recreation sites ready to meet the needs of the public.
Since 1995, to honor the work done by the Civilian Conservation Corps, the CCC Legacy Organization has worked to install the Ccc Worker Statute across the country. To date, there are 76 statutes. North Dakota's only statute, number 39, was installed in June of 2007, right here at Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park.
Alongside the statute, the commemorative plaque reads in its final paragraph, over 32,000 young North Dakota men were enrolled in the CCC, serving in the state and across the nation. Few other such groups have accomplished so much for our country. We owe a great debt of gratitude to these young men for their commitment and contribution.
Had it not been for the Civilian Conservation Corps, much of what we enjoy in our North Dakota state parks would not be here. So as you travel around this great state, take special notice of those stone picnic shelters, historic markers, museums, visitor centers. They were put there by a dedicated group of young men who created something truly special for our future generations to enjoy. So thanks for joining me on this episode of the Campfire Series here at beautiful Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park. My name is Matt. We'll see you all next time. Hey, thanks for joining us. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch the Campfire Series all summer long, brought to you from North Dakota State Parks and Recreation. See you next time.